The first is John Paris. I appreciate you responding to our request for the interviews this evening. As we're speaking, I guess, off camera, quote unquote, we know there are several events going on this evening and every evening from now until the end of the primary season. But we appreciate you taking time out of your schedule to join us tonight and give us a chance to learn a little bit more about you. Just so you know a little bit about us, the Asian American Group has been in existence for about 20 years now. We've been doing interviews for various political races for approximately the last 6 years. We plan on getting our endorsements out hopefully by tomorrow morning. We're going to meet immediately after we finish this evening's endorsement interviews to make the remaining endorsements necessary. Once we do, what we're going to do is not only notify all the individuals who interviewed, but we are also going to have ad space donated to us in some Asian newspapers, which will be placed throughout the valley, well, throughout the county technically. Also, we have email addresses numbering in the 5,000 or 6,000 amongst the people spread out on this dais. So we'll be sending out our endorsements to them as well. We know it's an off-cycle year. There aren't a whole lot of sexy races to get people to the polls, but we do want to do our best to encourage people to go out and do their civic duty and vote. So, now, that having been said, it's our turn to learn something about you. Why did you decide to run for this particular race at this particular time?
There were a couple things. The first thing that I was really kind of upset about was the fact that the commission decided to give themselves a 10% raise and tell the employees, nothing for you. Now, the middle class right now, with the economy going down, is falling into poverty, and I don't see where the commission has a right to raise their salaries by 10%. The other factor was their war on dotties. Okay, I don't like their war on dotties. Basically, we've got 7 Democrats up there, and they're playing the WANT game, not fair game. You know, life is not fair. Everything shouldn't be fair. They're trying to make everything fair. The reason that people go to Dottie's is because of the atmosphere, because they don't want to go to a bar, they don't want to go to a nightclub, they don't want to go to a casino. So they'd rather go to Dottie's and just be left alone and have a nice little time there. Well, Stations and Caesar's Palace decided to bring out the wah factor, and they went and they cried to the commission, and the commission said, oh, well, since you guys have given us so many donations, by the way, I haven't gotten $1 donation from the casinos. If you look at the other candidates, they're all in the tens of thousands from the casinos, okay? So therefore they're in their pocket. So what are they doing? They're taking Caesars and Stations, WAN, and going and they're beating the head over Dottie's. And that's something I want to end if I get elected. I know there's like a lot more Democrats in our commission than there are Republicans, but I think we can win them over. And basically, I'm a realtor right now. I also do a couple other things too. But you know, I sell solar systems, you know, because the electricity rates are going up 80% because President Obama has decided to go ahead and shut down all the coal-fired plants, which means that your electric bill is going up 80% this year, 40% next year, and then 10% each year thereafter. So I decided I would just jump on the old solar thing to help out, because what they did is they came to my house, they put solar in my house, and they did some things that have really, really made my house nice. So as a result, I decided to go to work for that company and sell solar. So I'm a real estate agent, and I also sell solar, and I invented a football board game. You can check it out at BigSunday.com. So those are the 3 things I've got going on.
Okay. There's been some tension as of late between the county commission and Metro based upon some of their differing views. What ideas do you have to, for lack of a better term, repair that relationship between 2 of the more important organizations within our valley?
Yeah, basically what we need a new sheriff for Metro, and even though he's a Democrat, I'm kind of leaning toward Moody on that, because I think he can probably do a good job in tying that down. The commission doesn't really have any influence, if you will, over the police departments. This is not the police commissioner, you know, this is the county commission. What we can do is we can talk to the leaders, we can talk to the lieutenants, the captains, and the chiefs, and what have you. But we don't actually have any anything that we can actually tell them. We're not over them. Okay, the sheriff is the law of the land here. The sheriff is the top guy, and he does his thing. Okay. So basically, those are the reasons I was running, is because I didn't like the Wandanis, and I didn't like the 10% increase that they're having, and a couple other things that they do, because they're all in lockstep. There's 7 Democrats in lockstep. They do everything in lockstep. I sure as heck didn't like them taking the BLM side when they were having sharpshooters pointing at pregnant women. I don't think the U.S. government has a right to point a gun at a U.S. citizen. A police officer, yeah. A sheriff, yeah. But when a federal agency, I don't think they should be pointing guns at innocent people. And I didn't like the fact that the 7 Democrats sided with the BLM, and then they told them, the militia people coming over, that they better bring their body bags. And then they started really putting down the militia people. But the militia people that came over were ex-military, ex-police officer, sharpshooters, and things of that nature. And basically they treated them like they were all hillbillies, but they're not. They were professional military, professional police officers, and that came out to protect liberty. And that's what I stand for. And I'm also a big proponent of the Second Amendment, and I want to bring jobs. I think all the fees are just outrageous. I'd like to lower the fees because you shouldn't have to have a whole lot of money to start a business. You ought to be able to just start a business like a lemonade stand, for example. And I don't want people coming over and hassling a 10-year-old girl who has a lemonade stand, asking her if she has a permit, okay, things of that nature. We do need to pull back on the police force a little bit because they are becoming more militant now. And so I want to kind of pull back on that militant style of the police and have them to be more public servants, and all we can do is suggest that to them. We can't force them to do that because the commission doesn't have any authority over that.
Well, regarding the enforcement, there have been some changes as of late regarding the laws involving, I don't want to say, people selling or receiving donations for things like water, bottles of water on the strip. Mm-hmm. And the county commission, as of in the last term, has certainly cracked down on those practices. Do you have any issue with the decisions they've made, for example, with the water bottle sales or donations, okay, or the animal nuisance laws that came into play as well?
Well, the first thing, I applaud the people out there with their entrepreneurial spirit. Okay, I like that idea. I think if they were just to pay not a huge permit fee, maybe $15, okay, to have the right to be out there and to sell the water for donations. And if they have a little ID there that says that they paid their $15 permit, then I don't have a problem with it because they've done their bit. The other one was with the what?
I believe they recently, I want to say within the last 10 months or so, they changed some regulations regarding having, essentially for homeless individuals, having animals on the ship, having dogs or cats with them. As well, there are some people who have complaints regarding the things like the showgirls or the models or the people dressing up as actors who are getting their photographs taken in front of the Bellagio, for example.
Yeah,
an example I use.
That's a good thing.
And you are, so you would not be in favor of regulating those individuals, is that what you're saying?
They can pay a $15 permit or whatever. It can't be prohibitive. It can't be like $100 or $200 that somebody can't afford. Okay, if they can afford $15, $20 permit fee, I'm happy with that. Just so that they're doing their part and they have a right to be there. Okay, and then they can make as much money as they want. I'm against income tax. I'm for the Fair Tax Act. I'm very, very, very heavily for the Fair Tax Act because I think that the 16th Amendment actually creates poverty. And the Fair Tax Act gets rid of the 16th Amendment, creates a 23% retail sales tax. On first blush, if you will, you're like, oh my God, that means prices are going up 23%. But what you have to remember is right now, everything that you buy has a 35% embedded income tax in it as is. Because I'm a manufacturer too, I manufacture the Big Sunday board game. For every dollar I want to earn, I have to charge $1.55, because that 55 cents goes to the federal income tax. Now under the Fair Tax Act, the way that would work is people would be able, there'd be a 23% retail sales tax But when you take away the 35%, it ends up being a 12% decrease in prices, and that helps the poor. Everybody gets $100 a month. That helps the poor. Everybody gets gross pay instead of net pay. That helps the poor. The progressives, whose, for lack of a better word, their foundation of their is the 16th Amendment. We didn't really need the 16th Amendment to pay for the war. That was just an excuse for the progressives to learn where you live, how much money you make, how many children you have, what you're spending your money on, and then if they can figure out, oh, all of a sudden you're spending more money, then there's some hanky-panky, but they just want to know more about you. That's why they created that. That's also why they created the Affordable Care Act, which is really the Unaffordable Care Act, because it is more expensive now.
Well, in fairness, as a county commissioner, there are a lot of things, such as the federal legislations that you've outlined, that you can't affect. But one thing as a commissioner you could impact would be the budget that UMC currently has. Their budgetary shortfall is anywhere between $70 and $100 million per year. What ideas, and obviously the Affordable Care Act is an eventuality that we all need to face, whether we like it or not. What ideas do you have to try and rein in or improve the numbers from UMC itself to make it a little bit more viable of an entity?
Well, one thing, I know there's a lot of waste going on over there, and I know there's some employee theft going on. So what we need to do is we need to get a committee together that can overlook the waste and the theft that's going on, okay? That'll cut down a little bit. But as far as trying to find new revenue, that is a big mistake. What you want to do to get more revenue, are you ready for this? Cut taxes. That's how you get more revenue. I know that doesn't sound right, doesn't it? It sounds like if you want more revenue, you need to raise taxes. But when you cut taxes, what that does is that increases spending. If we cut the bed tax by a few bucks, we're going to have more people coming. What people do before they book a hotel room is they find out what's the bed tax, what's the resort fee, and things of that nature, okay? And if it's cost prohibitive, they're not going to come and they're not going to stay there, okay? Now, we do have some new revenue sources coming on board, the SLS, the Lynx is doing pretty good there, and a couple other hotel, the Cosmopolitan was just sold, so they're, you know, maybe they can get some more business. And as more people come to Las Vegas and stay in the hotel rooms, that increases the revenue. So what do we need to do to increase revenue? We need to get people to come to Las Vegas. That's the key. Not try to raise the sales tax and try to earn money off the backs of the people of Clark County, because the one thing I'm going to do if I do make commissioner is I'm going to ask before any spending bill, how does this help the people of Clark County? If this is to pay off one of your cronies, forget it. And that's what the cronyism is going on right now with the casinos, with the commissioners in their back pocket.
Coming back to UMC though, other than investigating, having a committee look at their numbers, I guess, and perform a full-blown audit, which periodically does happen, I don't know how often. Any other ideas to try and work on the budgetary shortfall, which doesn't affect the tourists, it affects your constituents. It affects native Las Vegans, or I shouldn't say native, but it affects the people who are living in your district.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
And not those people who are coming in and paying these excessive room taxes at Cosmo or other places.
Right. Now, the only thing that we can do is see if we can cut in other areas to give more money to UMC. We can do that. There are a lot of areas right now that have a lot of waste and employee theft and things of that nature that we can rein in, and then we can give more money to UMC. But as far as trying to raise revenue through taxation, it'll never happen. You can come to me and you can say, it's for the children. You don't hate the children. You're not a children hater, are you? You need to raise the sales tax. Or they'll say, oh, but it's for the schools. You don't want our kids to not learn. Oh, but it's for the police department. They need more officers. Oh, it's for the, you know what? You can come at me with any excuse you want. I am not going to vote to raise that sales tax. However, Joe Thibodeau, the guy that I'm running against in the primary, said that he will raise the sales tax, which is unusual for a Republican.
And I'm sorry, I've been kind of asking, I think, every question of Randy. Are there any other questions from you guys? I don't want to take over the whole thing like I always do anyway.
Well, we know for a fact that we are a retirement hub, and in a couple of years we will have probably in the millions who will be coming over here. Do you have anything in your mind as far as a program that would assist our elderly for their boarding care?
I think that the elderly right now is doing a pretty splendid job. In my solar sales, I go out and I see the elderly people in their homes. The good news I can tell you is right now they're making it. The bad news is when that 80% electric hits, it's going to cut into their budgets. And I've been trying to help them out by getting them to go solar and have less than, because if they have like a $200 bill, we can put a $99 solar system in there, and be $99 a month instead of $200 a month that they're paying now. It goes from 99 for 18 panels to 206 for 39. So somewhere in there, and that's locked in with a 2.9% riser per year, and that's all it is. And another thing we can do to help the seniors, only if they need it. And that's, the Meals on Wheels and checking in on them and helping them and stuff like that in the senior centers that we have right now. The biggest problem we've got is I've got seniors who are doing just fine, who are getting the Meals on Wheels, getting this, getting that. They've got too much and they're giving it away to their neighbors. Now, if we're doing too much for seniors, then we need to cut back on that issue. Because the seniors don't eat as much as they did when they were in their 30s, So there's no reason for them to get all that food. They don't really need all that food.
Okay, what if they reach to a point where they needed more care? And, because of that care, they needed, of course, some form of financial assistance to be provided with that care. Do you have anything in mind on how to assist them on that aspect?
Well, yeah, the seniors that are in need can come to us, and along with the federal government, we can assist them with paying $600 a year in their electric bill, giving them $190 a month in food stamps, and basically making sure that they're on the Medicare, and then making sure that we have doctors that are available for Medicare. That's the biggest problem we have now. Doctors don't want to treat patients that have Medicare.
Can I further the question?
Please.
Yeah. Well, because what I'm trying to basically ask is that it will come to a point when our elderly, they cannot be left alone in their residence, and then they would require that care, probably in a nursing home or a facility of this similar type, where their needs will be provided because of the fact that they cannot do it by themselves, so they needed more assistance. So when it comes to that point, we know for a fact that most of our elderly are dependent on SSIs or what they receive from the government, and at this point in time, it is not enough to cover the care that they require at that point. So is there any program that you could think of or anything that you could do to augment whatever they have at present financially to be able to be provided or to pay for the care that they require? A classic example is a group home. When they go to a group home, the 900 that they are afforded with as far as the government assistance is concerned, or it will not be enough or will not suffice to cover their board and their care. So is there any kind of assistance or that you could
Okay, well, see, there's a big problem in that you're looking for government to solve problems, okay? What government needs to do is make it easier for private industry to help seniors. The churches, the synagogues, okay? We need to work through them and make sure that they're helping the seniors, because if we come up and give money for that, okay, then the kids are gonna say, well, we need preschool because our parents go to work early, and we need money for that. So then we got to funnel money there. And then next thing you know, we're funneling so much money that we're raising taxes, and the economy is going womp. See, my goal is to cut spending and cut taxes. But what I would do in that instance is I would get with the church community and entice them to help the elderly with their finances. And they will. The Catholic Church, for example, does a lot for seniors. And I would encourage, and I would continue to encourage them to do more. Now, if there's a situation where the Catholic Church says, well, you know what? We want to do this, but we're short $50,000. Well, the commission maybe can find $50,000 to funnel over there. But as far as creating a whole new program and a whole new spending thing, that's not going to help the people of Clark County. And it's not really going to help the seniors either. Just throwing money at seniors doesn't do them any good. Throwing money at any problem doesn't do anybody any good. Okay. What you have to do is you find what the core problem is. And what is the core problem? They can't get a job, even though they're healthy enough to work. It's because they're old, nobody wants to hire them. Well, I know for a fact that we can put seniors in the Walmarts and what have you there, and they can, and all they have to do, if they can stand, or even sit in a wheelchair to greet people and do things, and then make a little extra money. Because the problem is when you retire at 62 to 70, you can't earn but a certain amount of money, and then after 70 you can. Well, there's nothing I can do about that as a commissioner but petition the U.S. government to say, it doesn't matter what time, when they retire, let them work as much as they want. But again, the commission has no control of that. And there's only so much money that's in the budget to where we can't really be throwing money at a lot of different things that's not there. And the only way that we can increase revenue is to cut taxes and cut spending. That's how you do it.
So Randy, we really appreciate you coming out tonight.